Эти Гаухару Разбай кызы. Вы можете, да, мою вывести потом, пожалуйста?
Hello
Да,
everyone. Can you hear me?
да, вас слышно.
Okay. Okay, so good afternoon, dear colleagues, speakers. It's a great honor to welcome you to this online session of the Republican Conference, which is titled Knowledge, Research and Innovation, Transforming English Language Teaching in a Changing World. So, first of all, each speaker will have approximately only 10 minutes for the presentation, and I will be moderating today's session and guiding you through the presentations. So I would like to invite our first speaker, Yegorovskaya Natalia. The topic of the presentation is exploring students' cognitive skills through the development of the effective assessment for learning strategies. So, Natalia Yegorovskaya, can you please?
Yeah, I'm here. Yes, may I start? Hello,
Yeah.
everyone. Okay, good afternoon, dear colleagues. I would like to share my experience of conducting action research in my school on the topic exploring students' cognitive skills through the development of effective assessments for learning strategies. Let's demonstrate my presentation. So let's start. And dear colleagues, raise your hand or maybe wave your hand if you ever faced with situation when you ask a question and the answer is silence. Okay, yeah, it's me too, yeah. I see I'm not one here. Why is it happening? The learners are afraid of being assessed, afraid of losing face in front of their peers, and etc. And through my research in the 9th grade, I realized that the traditional assessment system often has functions as a judge rather than a coach. If a grade is a verdict, judgment, the student becomes defensive and silent. My goal was to transform assessment into a tool for the developing cognitive abilities like memory, critical thinking, and confidence. For an assessment system, I truly help a student grow. It must answer 3 simple, crucial questions. Where am I going? How am I doing it now? And what can I do to improve? When a student understands the answers to these questions, assessment stops being something frightening. It becomes a guide, a kind of map for moving forward. I have begun to use 2 very simple, powerful tools, as you see on the screen. When a student says, I don't know, I can do it, we add just 1 word, yet. For example, you haven't mastered this topic yet. This little word changes the way of view mistakes. The learner begins to understand that mistakes are not the end, but part of his journey or her journey to desired result. The second tool, as you see, is separating learning and assessment. I've given the students the right to make mistakes during their learning. Now, a mistake isn't a punishment, but a reason to stop, think, understand, analyze their actions, seek a solution, and learn from their own experience. This is how assessment finishes to be a source of fear and becomes a tool for the developing thinking. Colleagues, remember, I hope you remember the situation when we check workbooks of our students and assign grades. Students open their workbooks, look at his or her marks, close and forget, yes? Their thinking has stopped there. Try changing the algorithm. Point out the mistake, but withhold the grade. Give the learners chance to walk off their performance right in class. when a student discovers and corrects their mistakes themselves, knowing it won't lower their grade. They stop being afraid and start analyzing. We transform mistakes from punishment to learning tools. To motivate students during the lesson, I use a simple system called 3 steps to success. How does this method work? The teacher breaks the learning task into 3 levels, as you see on the screen, of difficulty. Each level has its own name and a clear description of what the student is expected to do. Criteria must be posted on the board or included on the assessment sheet before the assessment begins. 3 steps to success teach the learners to plan for their result. And what are these steps? As you see, the first level, it is must level. For example, where the learners have to write only 5 words correctly. The second level, should level. Here, a teacher asks for a little more effort, not just word, but the sentence. And the highest level, it is could level. Here, you need to express own opinion or risk speaking without the cheat sheet. Maybe, for example, make 3 sentences with these words using the tense you learned. The students choose the height of their own bar. The grade no longer comes a surprise at the end of the lesson. It becomes a result of their personal choice. So, next question I have researched is how can I get learners not just present in the class, but actually thinking? I implemented 3 simple and very powerful tools that change the atmosphere in the classroom. The first tool, as you see, self-assessment. For example, at the end of the lesson, I ask my students a reflective question. For example, what have you learned today? What was difficult for you? What can you do better next time? The assessment, and after this, the learners start to control of their process. The assessment is no longer a surprise for the teacher. It has become a conscious result. The second tool that I used, it is peer assessment. Please, colleagues, remember the moment in the class when one person answers at the board and while the other count birds and wait for the bell. I decided to change that. Now everyone has expert card. While one person speaks, whole class listen and assess. By evaluating others, the learners begins to see the same mistakes in themselves. And one of the most common technique for mutual evaluation is 2 stars and 1 wish. Next tool, it is mind maps, this tool for developing cognitive abilities. We all know that retelling of the topic is difficult for some of the learners. Mind map is a skeleton of the story. To draw a map from a student needs to at first read, understand the main points, then cut out the unnecessary a paragraph into 1 word. And the result, while drawing the map, they have already processed the text at a deep level 3 times. And in concluding my presentation, I want to summarize my main point. My research has confirmed that the development of the 9th grade's cognitive abilities directly depends on how we assess them. If assessment is only a carrot or stick, the student's brain remains passive. But as soon as we implement effective assessment through self-reflection, transparent criteria, and mind maps, we activate powerful thought process. My main recommendation, view assessment not as a record of mistake, but as a tool for development. We teach not for school, we teach for life, and assessment is the first step to awareness. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia Yegorovskaya, for your presentation. So our next speaker is Gulnur Baydalina. The title of the presentation is Action Research, a methodology for improving teaching experience. So let's start.
I can share the screen.
Yeah.
Okay, good day, dear colleagues. My name is Baydalina Gulnur Mirambekovna. I'm a teacher, English teacher researcher from school number 16. Today, I'm going to present a poster on the topic Action Research as a methodology for improving teaching experience. And the focus of my poster is to define action research, to demonstrate the process of applying it in practice, and to share the effects of using this approach among teachers who participated in QUEST's research program. The objective of my presentation is to explain the cyclical nature of action research and how to show this process, how this process helps teachers develop their professional skills, become more reflective practitioners, and continuously improve their teaching experience. Let me begin with a broader perspective. In today's educational environment, teachers are expected not only to deliver knowledge, but also to constantly evaluate and improve their own practice. Education is constantly changing, and teachers need to adapt to new challenges, diverse learners, and modern teaching methods. One of the most effective ways to do this is through reflection and inquiry. This is exactly where action research becomes especially valuable. It allows teachers to investigate their own teaching in a systematic and a meaningful way. So, what is action research? According to Carr and Chemist, action research is a form of collective, self-reflective inquiry undertaken by participants. It seeks to improve practice, the understanding of practice by its practitioners, and the situation in which the practice is carried out. In simpler terms, action research is a method where teachers study their own classroom, identify a problem or area for improvement, take action, and evaluate the results. It combines both theory and practice and is directly connected to real educational settings. One of the key features of action research is that it is cyclical. This means it's not a one-time process, but a continuous cycle of improvement. Now, let us look at the first diagram. If you look at the center of my poster, you see the diagram which illustrates the main stages of action research. And the first stage is identifying a problem, issue, or an area for development. This is a very important step because the success of the whole process depends on choosing the right focus. For example, a teacher may notice that students are not actively participating in discussion or that their test results are lower than expected. On the other hand, the teacher might already have a successful strategy, and want to improve it even better. Further, it's important to clearly define the context. This could be one class, a group of students, or a specific skill such as reading comprehension or speaking ability. A clear and focused problem makes the research more effective and manageable. And the second stage is data collection and diagnosis. At this stage, the teacher gathers information to better understand the situation. There are many methods that can be used, including questionnaires, interviews, classroom observations, analysis of students' written work, and examination results. For instance, if students are not engaged, the teacher might conduct a short survey to understand their interests or observe how they respond to different types of activities. And this helps to identify the root causes of the problems rather than just the symptoms. After collecting the data, the teacher analyzes it and draws conclusions. This leads to the next stage, planning and action. At this stage, the teacher designs an intervention based on the findings. The intervention should be practical, realistic, and suitable for the specific classroom context. And for example, the teacher might introduce group work, use interactive technologies, apply differentiated instruction, or redesign lesson plans to make them more engaging. It's important that the action is clearly planned and has a specific goal. The next stage is implementing the action. The teacher applies the planned changes in the classroom over a certain period of time. During this stage, it's also important to continue observing and collecting data. And finally, the teacher analyzes the results and reflects on their intervention. Reflection is one of the most important parts of action research. And the teacher should ask questions such as like, did the intervention improve the situation? What worked well and why? What challenges appeared? And what could be improved in the future? It's very important to be honest and objective during the reflection. I'm sorry. Even if the results are not successful, they still provide valuable learning experience. If necessary, the teacher can begin the cycle again, making adjustments and trying new strategies. This continuous cycle leads to long-term improvement. To make this clearer, let me give a short practical example. Imagine a teacher notices the students are not actively speaking in English during lesson. After collecting data through observation, questionnaires, the teacher discovers that students feel shy and lack confidence. As an intervention, the teacher introduces pair work and small group discussions instead of whole class speaking and speaking activities. After several weeks, the teacher observes that students participate more active and feel more comfortable speaking. This example shows how action research can lead to real and visible improvement in the classroom. Now, let's move to the second chart at the bottom, which presents the result of a survey conducted among 114 teachers over a period of 10 years, from 1995 to 2005. According to Brookmeyer, the majority of teachers had a positive attitude towards action research. As you see, 85% of teachers stated that action research is an important foundation for development in professionalism. It means that teachers see it as a way to grow and improve their skills. 84% said that it provides valuable knowledge for classroom practice, helping them better understand their students and teaching strategies. 75% believe that it creates a context for transforming teaching practice, leading to meaningful and lasting changes. And these results clearly show that action research is widely recognized as an effective and useful approach in education. And in addition, action research has several important advantages. The first one is it is practical and directly connected to real classroom situations. Second, it encourages teachers to become reflective practitioners. Third, it supports continuous professional development. And finally, it helps teachers become more confident in their decisions because they are based on evidence. And however, it's also important to mention some challenges. Action research requires time, effort, and careful planning. And teachers need to be motivated and open to change. They also need basic research skills such as data collection and analysis. And despite these challenges, the benefits of action research are significant and long-lasting. And to sum up action research, to sum up this poster, this presentation, action research is a methodology that focuses on identifying problems in teaching practice and finding effective solutions. And at the same time, it helps teachers better understand their work and continuously improve their teaching practice. And in conclusion, I would like to emphasize that if teachers develop skills in action research, they will be able to respond to challenges more effectively, make informed decisions, and create a more supportive and productive learning environment for their students. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, you can answer. You will answer.
Yeah, if you have any questions, you may ask. So thank you for your poster about the action research. And now, if you don't have any questions, I would like to invite Bakırgül Yermanova and Alisa Gurinova with a presentation titled Development Argumentative Skills through the 7 C's Argumentation Framework. So let's start. Sorry, we can't listen to you, unfortunately. Can you turn on your microphones, please?
Вас не слышно.
Or maybe you can change the microphone type.
А сейчас нас слышно?
Yes.
Хорошо. Окей. Давай
Okay,
начнем
so
заново.
some technical issues. So, hello everyone. Sorry for these technical issues. We'd like to present our action research, which is called Developing Argumentative Skills through the 7C Argumentation Framework.
So we have presented our action research at the WALS conference, so which was in 2025 in Astana. And here you can see just a photo with one of the researchers in lesson study and action research. Why did we decide to focus on argumentation? Our 2024 exam analysis showed that most difficulties our 11th grade students faced were in content and organization. They often had ideas, but they did not know how to structure them logically or make the arguments convincing. Yes, and many of them relied mostly on personal experience instead of academic reasoning. So we realized that our students need our support in developing their clarity, coherence, and convincing evidence
And these are the three ideas behind the 7C framework.
Mhm.
So, but before we start, we analyzed our students' writing samples.
Yeah, and what we found was quite typical for language learners. Our students could express opinions, but they struggled to connect arguments, to use appropriate examples, and maintain logical flow.
So, like, we help our students to provide a tool that will help them to move from expression to academic argumentation.
Mhm. So that brought us to our research focus. Our main question was, how does the implementation of the 7Cs framework impact the development of argumentative skills in 11th grade students? And the objective was simple, to improve students' weaknesses in content and organization by using this 7C model as a structured model for argumentation.
So, and on this slide, you can see the theoretical background of our research. So, like, the approach builds on such works of well-known researchers in academic writing as Ken Highland, who emphasizes the importance of genre-based instruction, and Christian Tardy, who reminds that teaching writing is not only about grammar or vocabulary, but also about helping students understand how argumentation works. Yeah, and also like you can see that we read some like works of Alistair Cumming and Jutta Pope, who also highlight structure and coherence as key components of effective writing.
Mhm. So, how did we test it in practice?
So we worked with 44 students of grade 11, whose level E has to be according to the program B2 C1, from September 2024 till January 2025. And we used the mixed method approach, so the combining both quantitative and qualitative data.
Mhm. That included pre and post intervention. Essays, as you see, classroom observations, student reflections, and interviews with focus groups. We wanted to see not just the score improvement, but also how students try to perceive and apply the framework in their real writing tasks.
So 7Cs are the following: clarity, coherence, consistency, conciseness, credibility, creativity, and critical thinking.
Mhm. So we introduced each principle step by step. Students practiced identifying them in sample essays and then use the framework to plan and revise their own writing. We also developed a 7Cs checklist, which students used to self-assess, and that really helped make the writing process more transparent and structured.
Yes, and step by step, our students began expressing their position more confidently, supporting their arguments with stronger evidence and fewer personal examples. So they also told us that a framework helped them see the logical, the logic of their own essays, understanding how to connect arguments, how to explain everything, and how to give evidence.
Mhm. So, and the quantitative data confirmed this improvement. So, we saw noticeable progress in the content, as you can see on the slide, and organization criteria. Students used more academic linking words and showed clearer logical flow in their writings.
So in short, their essays became more structured, more coherent, and more persuasive.
Of course, as with any research, there were both strengths and challenges.
So among the strengths, students showed clearer position, as I have already mentioned, convincing support and better ideas.
Mhm. But there were also weaknesses, especially with counter arguments. So many students still struggle to evaluate opposing viewpoints or use complex grammar structures. Vocabulary limitations also made it harder for them to express imprecise, nuanced arguments, something we are going to focus on it next stage of our research. So what can we conclude here?
So the 7C framework definitely proved to be a valuable tool. So it helps students move from personal storytelling to structured academic reasoning. And it reminded us as teachers that developing argumentation is not only about writing, it's about teaching students to think critically and express their ideas in a logical way and with confidence. So our next step will be to integrate vocabulary and grammar into this framework, so that students can make their strong ideas sound just as strong linguistically.
Thank you very much for your attention. So we will be happy to answer your questions if there are some. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your research findings. And now let's continue with the speaker, Aygul Jakubova. Please, can you share your screen?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear, but we
Can you see the slides?
see your screen.
Not visible?
No. And
Can you see it now?
Yes. So let's start. Good luck.
All right. Hello again, dear colleagues. My name is Aygul Jakubova. I am from NIS in Pavlodar, Nazarbayev Intellectual School. And I would like to present my action research today with the research topic, developing ninth grade students' reading literacy in English lessons through adapted texts and level-based assignments. Nowadays, in our modern world, reading plays a crucial role, and because reading opens the door to a wider world. Through reading, people develop their speaking, writing, and thinking skills, as well as expand their vocabulary, improve their expressiveness, and enhance their concentration. It stimulates the mind and imagination, fosters intellectual growth, and broadens horizons. Reading literacy is increasingly recognized as a fundamental competence that underpins lifelong learning and the development of other literacies. It's not only a core goal of compulsory schooling, but also a crucial factor in determining people's ability to acquire knowledge, grow personally, and participate in society. But the problem is that although many students acquire basic decoding and comprehension skills at school, they often struggle with higher level tasks such as identifying relationships in texts, critically evaluating information, and composing their own written answers. So this gap arises in part because teaching methods remain overly focused on initial reading skills and lower level comprehension tasks, with insufficient attention to metacognitive strategies, reflection, and critical engagement. So that's why, with the aim to improve reading literacy of ninth grade students, we decided to use adapted texts and level-based tasks. And we had the following questions. How do the methods of adapted text and level-based tasks affect reading skills? And what factors influence higher level reading skills? Our research was based on PISA framework, that is program for assessing students' literacy. according to PISA reading framework, there are three levels of tasks. The first one is finding and retrieving information, where students search and extract information presented in explicit form. On the second level, they integrate and interpret, which means that they establish connections between fragments of text, understand their semantic relationships, and interpret this information. And on the third level, on reflect and evaluate level, they critically assess the content and form of the text, compare information with personal experience and knowledge and external context. Thus, reading literacy is viewed as a dynamic and context-dependent construct that enables people to access and process information, comprehend it, and critically engage with texts. We held our research in two grades that consist of 12 students in each grade. And we decided to devote one term to it, which took us 2 months. At the planning stage, we found texts from different websites and adapted them to the level of students. Then we prepared questions. We actually learned about the 3 levels, saw the example tasks, and tried to compose the same level text, the same level tasks for our students. And we prepared a diagnostic test for students to measure their literacy, reading literacy, and a control test. And we also asked the students to give their feedback on the tasks. During implementation stage, we tried to devote at least 1 lesson in the week to reading and fulfilling the tasks in the format of PISA. As a result, we could see that there was a general improvement. The overall improvement was 4%. And according to the levels, students showed different results. The analysis of students' responses confirms that information finding and retrieval tasks presented no significant difficulties for students. The success rate for questions requiring information finding and retrieval was 86%. This can be explained by the frequent use of such tasks in the modern curriculum, which traditionally emphasizes testing students' understanding of specific information. Students confidently answered questions requiring precise data finding in the formats as multiple choice questions, fill-in-the-blank questions, sentence completion, short answer questions, and so on. In the classroom, such tasks are included in the text comprehension assessments and are practiced during each reading. At the integration and interpretation level, most students successfully completed tasks requiring identifying indirect and hidden meanings, identifying the author's idea, distinguishing between main and secondary ideas, comparing and contrasting data. This level of tasks presented challenges to students with a lower language level. This group of students might misinterpret the meaning of a word or misunderstand a complex sentence that leads to choosing the wrong answer. But anyway, the success rate for completing the second level tasks was 72%. The most challenging tasks involved comprehension and evaluation. So difficulties in completing such tasks may be due not only to linguistic factors, but also to understanding metacognitive strategies and limited knowledge of ecology and geography, which were the topics of this term. This confirms the OECD's position that reading literacy is interdisciplinary and depends on students' ability to integrate knowledge from different fields. The tasks required students to connect textual ideas to engaging higher order thinking, where students thought critically and applied additional subject matter knowledge. Students preparing for Olympiads or different projects, for example, or who were interested in geography, often offered more detailed answers, but due to some limited knowledge, their answers might be incomplete. Since the sources of materials were data from domestic websites, the questions included generalizations of local and global issues. So, however, not all students were able to explain their countries and global problems. And in general, the quality of the responses was 64%. So summarizing the analysis of student responses and their feedback, it is necessary to expand the scope of questions on generalization and evaluation to develop reading skills and foster the literacy required in modern society. Experience shows that insufficient time is devoted to checking text comprehension lessons, but post-text sufficient time is devoted to text comprehension tasks, but post-text assignments are not aligned with the tasks proposed by PISA. Therefore, it is assumed that the consistent use of the level 3 questions in lessons and the expansion of the local and global content of materials will improve students' ability to answer questions on reflection and evaluation. Students' interests in a particular field in, for example, competitions and project activities, attendance at hobby clubs, independent study of particular fields, also contribute to the expansion and deepening of their knowledge. Of course, along with the goals of developing reading skills, the teacher's task is to develop lexical and grammatical aspects of language using scaffolding and differentiation to remove the language barrier in understanding textual information. So generalizing and moving to the main recommendations as a final stage of the action research, in order to further develop reading literacy in English lessons, it is recommended to focus on the format of tasks for comprehension and evaluation, use tasks on local and global issues, apply metacognitive strategies, and apply differentiation and scaffolding in order to remove barriers. Thank you for your attention. These are the references. If you have questions, you're welcome.
Okay, so thank you for your informative presentation. Let's continue with the next speaker, Ilona Ruslanovna, please.
Hello, but unfortunately I can't share my screen.
No, not yet. Sorry, I got okay, yeah. And now you can share.
Okay, hello everyone. We are all using worksheet, but let's be honest, what usually happens when we hand them out? The room goes silent, heads go down, pen starts moving. Often the worksheet acts as a silencer, a tool for individual focus, but rarely a catalyst for conversation. Today, I want to discuss how we can transform the worksheet from a statistic piece of paper into a scaffold for speech. We will look at through the lenses of action research. In educational theory, scaffolding refers to the temporary support we provide to help students reach a high level of understanding. To make a worksheet communicative, it must act as a bridge to oral production. In our action research, we began by asking, why do our students complete the grammar and vocabulary exercises perfectly on paper but remain silent during the discussion phase? The answer often lies in the design. Traditional worksheets typically focus on controlled practice, such as gap fillings, matching tasks, transformation, and the same. While this format can reinforce grammar and vocabulary, they often fail to promote meaningful communication. A communication worksheet, by contrast, is designed with three core principles in mind: purposeful language use, interaction, and personalization. The aim is not only accuracy, but also fluency and real-life relevance. Well, now I would like to demonstrate the key principles of designing communicative worksheets, and the first is clear communicative objective. Before designing a worksheet, teachers should ask, what will students communicate and why? For example, insist on filling the correct form of the work, transform it into interview your partner about the daily routine, and report back to the class. The grammar remains the same. For example, if we want to ask to use the present simple, but the ask now involves authentic communication. The next is information gap. One of the most effective communicative techniques is the information gap. Students process different pieces of information and must communicate to complete the task. Examples spot the difference picture, mystery solving tasks, role cards with different objectives. Worksheets should be structured so that communication becomes necessary, not optional. The third is personalization. Tasks that connected to students' real experience increase engagement and motivation. Instead of abstract sentences, it could prompt such as describe a tradition in your family, plan your dream weekend, and the same. Personalization transforms worksheets into meaningful exchanges. And the fourth, collaboration and interaction. Communicative worksheets should include peer work, group discussion, role-play prompts, problem-solving tasks. Well, and some of you may think that creating a worksheet is a tall thing to do. But to tell you the truth, using the following steps, which you can see on the screen, it becomes a lot easier. A practical model may include warm-up activation. It can be short question or visual prompts to activate prior knowledge. Input stage. A short text, dialogues, infographic, or visual stimulus. Guided practice, controlled activities to scaffold language. Communicative task, an open-ended activity requirement interaction, and reflection. Self-assessment or peer feedback questions like what experience did you use and what was difficult? Well, in this slide, you can find the common mistakes in worksheet design. And effective worksheets are visually clear, logically structured, and balanced between guidance and freedom. Well, and now I would like to demonstrate which worksheets we use in our lessons. We can use some grammar activities, the activities with text, with videos, and the same. In this slide, we can see our students. They create their own worksheets. Well, and when worksheets are communicative tools, the teacher shifts from knowledge transform to facilitator, observer, language supporter, feedback provider, monitoring interaction, and providing light feedback enhances fluency and confidence. Our research focused on a common problem. Students who are unmotivated and terrifying to speak. To help, we turned our worksheet into a speaking scaffold, a safety net that gives them the courage to talk. Instead of boring grammar drills, we added two things. Sentences started, like I agree, but, to help them begin, information gap that forces them to talk to finish the task. By planning, acting, observing, and reflecting, we saw a huge change. Their anxiety dropped and their confidence grew. This worksheet acts like a shield, protecting them from the fear of mistakes. We provided the right support on paper, help students to find their voice in the real world. And in conclusion, a worksheet should just be a way to kill time. It's actually a tool that shows us how students build their thought and contact with others. Our real goal is to design a worksheet that students invented won't even need. Think of it like a scaffold on a building. It stays there for support until the structure is strong enough to stand on its own. Let's stop just giving them tasks and start giving them the chance to finally be heard. Well, thank you for your attention.
Okay, so thank you for your interesting and insightful presentation. And now I'd like to invite our next speaker, Kabdia Nurkamal. Please, can you share your screen?
So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kabdia Nurkamal, and today's presentation is about how the Adel-Azamat framework can transform our classrooms into spaces of moral and linguistic growth. The core problem we face in EFL is the mechanical trap. So students are often asked to memorize rules or complete exercises and repeat structure, but in this process, they do not express their own ideas, or they're afraid of making mistakes, and they are not emotionally involved as well. So this leads to high language anxiety and low motivation. When students don't see their own identity or their values in the language they speak, they lose interest. As a result, learning becomes mechanical and not meaningful. To answer this problem, I formulated the following research questions. The first one is, how can Adel-Azamat values be integrated into EFL lessons, and can social emotional learning improve students' speaking skills? Here's the aim of this research. Aim of is research to integrate Adel-Azamat values into EFL teaching, and objectives are apply social emotional learning strategies and develop responsibility and honesty. Here is the theoretical framework. This research is based on social learning, social emotional learning. According to Goleman, emotional intelligence plays a key role in academic success. So another important concept is the affective filter, which explains that students learn better in a low stress environment. And also this study is connected with Kazakh national values and philosophy. So also we believe that integrating these three allows us to create a low anxiety and high value learning environment. The next one is methodology. So methodology we developed is the AAA model. So we take here authentic values from the Al-Azamat program and transform them into effective engagement tasks using SEL. And finally, they arrive at active language practice. So this ensures that every grammar point, whether it's the maybe present simple or future forms, is tied to a real life moral choice. So also we used a systematic classroom observation and qualitative analysis over a 5 month period to track the impact of this model. Next one is let's look at the case studies, practical implementation. So the first one is in grade 5, we used an activity called responsibility jar. So students talked about their daily responsibilities. For example, they might say that I help my parents or I clean my room. This activity helped them to understand that responsibility is part of everyday life. And in grade 7, ethical commitment tasks. So students talked about what they have done and what they will do in the future. For example, I have helped my friend, or I'll always tell the truth, and etc. So for stronger students, we can ask questions like, what have you already done to help your community, and etc. Next one is analysis and discussion. So the results were transformative. So we focused on student A, a learner who previously struggled with language anxiety. By shifting the focus from correct grammar to honest expression, we saw his engagement level rise, and our data shows that when the topic is meaningful, the affective filter drops, and students began to see English not as a foreign subject, but as a medium for their own Al-Azamat identity. To conclude my presentation, I would like to propose 3 innovative activities that can take the Al-Azamat framework even further. While I have not fully implemented this yet, they represent the future direction of my research. First is digital mirror. In this task, students analyze their social media behavior. They use model verbs to discuss their digital footprint and asking what should an honest citizen post online, and etc. The second one is invisible garden. This is a secret mission of kindness. So each student is assigned a classmate to help secretly for 1 week, and then they after that report their actions. Here they can use grammar like present perfect and etc. The third one is the moral core. This is for advanced learners. So here they create debate between traditional wisdom and modern technology. So in conclusion, character education is not a separate lesson. It is the heart of every lesson. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your presentation and research findings. And our next speaker is Sırbayeva Ayjan Kayjanqızı. Sırbayeva Ayjan, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, let's share your screen, please.
Okay, just a minute. I cannot demonstrate my presentations. Can you demonstrate my presentation from Google Disc?
No, just 1 second, please.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm. So, good afternoon, respective colleagues. So, today's my topic is digital feedback platforms in EFL using Padlet, Answer Garden, and WooClub in English language teaching. So, in today's rapidly evolving digital world, education is undergoing a profound transformation. Our students are no longer passive recipients of information, and they are active users of technology, constantly interacting, sharing, and responding. And today I will show you three platforms to get feedback from our students. So let's begin with Padlet. So Padlet creates a safe and inclusive space where every student can express their thoughts. It removes the fear of speaking in front of others and replaces it with confidence and participation. In such an environment, even the quietest student can be heard. So, and also, Padlet, you can, after completing a lesson, teachers may ask students to post their thoughts about what they learned or what difficulties they experienced, and this allows educators to better understand what they learned or what difficulties they experienced. This allows educators to better understand students' learning needs and adjust their teaching strategies accordingly. And also, Padlet also supports project-based learning, where students can collect resources, share research materials, and present their findings in an organized digital form. So the next is Answer Garden for quick feedback and vocabulary activities. Answer Garden is a simple web-based tool designed to collect short responses from students. The platform automatically displays answers in the form of word cloud, where the most frequently used words appear larger than others. And one of the main advantages of Answer Garden is its simplicity. Students don't need to create accounts or log into use platform. Teachers simply provide a link or QR code and students can immediately submit their answers. And also, Answer Garden is particularly useful for vocabulary learning. In failed classrooms, teachers can ask students such as, what words describe happiness? Or what vocabulary do you know about food? Students submit their responses and the word cloud grows as more answers appear. And the platform is also helpful for checking prior knowledge before starting a new lesson. Teachers may ask students what they already know about a particular topic, and the responses help teachers understand students' background knowledge and plan the instruction accordingly. And the next one is WooClub is an interactive platform designed to increase student participation during presentations and lectures. It allows teachers to create a variety of interactive questions, including multiple choice quizzes, polls, ranking tasks, open-ended questions, and word cloud activities. In EFL classrooms, WooClub is particularly used for formative assessment. Teachers can ask students during the lesson to check students' understanding of grammar rules, vocabulary, or reading comprehension. Students submit their responses using their smartphones or computers, and the results appear instantly on the screen. And this immediate feedback helps teachers identify areas where students may need additional explanation. And WooClub is also valuable for interactive presentations. Instead of passively listening to a lecture, students actively participate by answering questions and sharing their opinions. So another advantage of WooClub is that it supports anonymous responses, which encourages shy students to participate more freely. So in conclusion, the integration of digital feedback platforms such as Padlet, Answergarden, and WooClub has significantly transformed the teaching and learning process in English as a foreign language classrooms. These platforms provide teachers with innovative opportunities to create interactive learning environments where students actively participate in discussions, share ideas, and receive immediate feedback. As a result, learners become more engaged and motivated to develop their language skills. Okay, so thank you for attention.
Thank you for your presentation. So let's continue. Our next speaker is Bikirjanova Saltanat Ispulatovna.
Okay, good afternoon, dear colleagues. Glad to see you. So let me demonstrate. Okay, do you see the screen well, guys, colleagues?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to share with you effective methods of teaching. I've brought here several apps. The first one is Genially. Here I would like to show you how it works. You can use this app for with the work with the reading part. Yeah, as you know, nowadays students are lazy, they do not want to do anything, and here with the help of this app you can engage the lesson to the lesson. For example, here you can see the text. Yeah, they read the text and you click on, okay, oh, here you will click on to this room and they see the questions. Yeah, for example, how long was Kyoto the capital of Japan? Yeah, the capital. They choose their answer according to the text. For example, let's choose this answer, about 100. Okay, next question. They read and answer the questions. And next, you continue room number 1. You finished here your task and you move to the next room. Yeah, here you can see the text again. They'll read the text attentively. Because in this room maybe they made some mistakes, and next room they try to read this text again attentively and try to answer the questions correctly. Let's move on to the next room number 2. Here again they see the questions and they give their answers and move on to the next room. Okay, they finished the second room. In this case, they go to the third room and main hall, and in this case, they read the text attentively, try to catch everything from this text, because it's really amazing for students doing this kind of tasks from Genially app. Okay, next one I would like to present you. Next game is Game Stall in English. Okay, let's see.
Put the cushion on the sofa.
The most interesting thing is that here you can see the listening. Yeah, they put the cushion on the sofa. They do it like this on the sofa. Oh, here on the sofa.
Put the remote under the sofa.
Okay, under the sofa.
Put the keys under the chair. Put the tissues in front of the sofa. Put the candle on the table. Put the lamp between the sofa and chair. Put the books above the sofa.
Okay, above the sofa box. Where is box here? Put the books above the sofa. It's really, first of all, this app can help you to develop students listening. Yeah, they listen the sentences and game over. Okay, time is up, game over. You can retry it. Also, it helps to develop their vocabulary, as you know. And here, I would like to show you again one more game where the students can develop their vocabulary. As you know, it's really hard to learn vocabulary, to learn by heart them. And this one is fantastic tool to engage the students to the lesson. First of all, here you can choose the content. Yeah, let's choose animal, for example. They first of all, they learn by heart it. Yeah, for example, dragon.
Dragon. Fly. Fish.
What is the most important thing here? They can listen and pronounce it correctly. Yeah. For example,
bird, cat, penguin, elephant, pig, chicken, skunk.
And here they can check their answers. Yeah. For example,
Skunk, pig, bird, fish, cat, penguin, chicken, fly, elephant, dragon.
And so on. You can do such kind of exercises. They can learn a lot of words, and it's really engaging. Students, I think students love such kind of activities. And the next one is I would like to present you Omigra apps. Okay, let's play this game together. They read the text, they read the questions, and they choose the article, the prepositions. Yeah. If the students, here you can see that if the students answered incorrectly, the train will go away, and it's really engaging for them. So here you see, yeah, again. And like this, you will continue doing like this, yeah. So at the end, I would like to say that nowadays students are not engaged to the lessons, and such kind of online apps, online games can help students to get motivation and engagement. Yeah. So also in this case, all the class participation increases. So even the most passive students can become active and earn points by using such kind of games. Also, as you know, it is free learning, because many students are afraid of making mistakes, or they are afraid of making speaking mistakes, yeah, incorrectly. In this case, they can learn how to pronounce it correctly, and it can be the way of game, yeah. Also, they get instant feedback and instant feedback from this app, and they understand their mistakes and they remember them, and they really make such kind of ready statistics, yeah. Also, it can be, they can improve their long-term memory. They can retain information better with the help of, because it is linked to the emotion, and that is why they memorize everything quickly, because it is related to emotion, yeah. From psychology, we know that with the help of emotion, we learn for a long time, and then it can be personalized learning. So students can complete tasks by their own pace, and they get results. Strong students can move ahead, and the learners can take their time and review until they master the topic. So this is the main topic that I would like to share with you. So thank you for your attention, guys.
So thank you for your teaching experiences. And now I'd like to invite our last speaker, Ilukesheva Kurlana Ablaevna.
I'm last speaker. Okay, good afternoon, my colleagues. I know you are exhausted, but today I would like to present the topic types of correction and effective feedback techniques. Так, я сама, да, переключаю. Let me start with a simple question. What is feedback? Feedback is the comment that a teacher gives to students about their performance. For example, after they speak, write, or complete any task. It helps students understand two very important things: what they did well and what they can improve next time. Without feedback, students often don't know if they are progressing or not. So feedback plays a key role in the learning process. Now let's look at the main functions of feedback. The first function is feedback helps students understand their progress. They see what they already know and what they can do. The second, it helps them notice mistakes, and this is very important because mistakes are natural and necessary part of learning. Third, feedbacks help students stay motivated, especially when the teacher gives positive comments, not only corrections. And finally, feedback improves skills by getting clear advice or examples. Mistakes. How can we correct mistakes in a way that students don't stop speaking but want to speak even more? Teachers should follow the main rules. The first rule: what to correct. We should correct only important mistakes, that ones that are useful for students' progress. Small mistakes that do not affect understanding can often ignore it. The second rule is what to correct. We should choose the right moment. Sometimes we correct immediately, sometimes later, sometimes we don't correct at all. Now let's move to the three main types of correction. The first type is immediate correction. We use immediate correction when the mistake makes the sentence difficult to understand. The goal of activity is accuracy. Or when the students repeat the same mistake many times. For example, if students practice past simple but continue to use present simple, the teacher should correct them immediately. This type of correction is especially useful during controlled practice when students focus on correct grammar or vocabulary. Here we can see the Second type, delayed correction. Delayed correction we use when the goal of activity is fluency, when students need to speak freely and express their ideas. In this case, the teacher does not interrupt the student. Instead, the teacher writes down mistakes and discards them after the activity. Why is this important? Because interruption can reduce students' confidence and stop communication. Delayed correction helps to create a more comfortable atmosphere. The third type of correction is ignoring the mistake. Sometimes the best decision is not to correct at all. We ignore mistakes when students trying new grammar or vocabulary. The mistake does not affect understanding, or correction can demotivate the students. For example, at the beginning of the lesson, when the students talk about their weekend, the goal is communication, not accuracy. Could you turn your microphone and could you answer the question which type of correction will use for task? For example, students talk about their weekend and the goal is communication, not accuracy. We should use what? What type of correction, colleagues? Could you answer? Okay. No, my recommendation, it's better to ignore small mistakes and let them express their ideas freely. When students answer question about reading or listening text, the focus is on understanding content, not grammar. So again, it's better not to interrupt them. Let's move to effective feedback techniques. Here we can see some types of correction, yes? Sorry. Good feedback should not be only about mistakes. It should be balanced and supportive. There are three important parts of effective feedback. First, content. We should show that we value students' ideas. For example, we can say, I liked how you explained this idea. That was a strong argument. Create example for your experience. This helps create a safe and positive atmosphere in the class. The second, language achievements. The goal motivates students, yes, to create atmosphere and of success. Which phrase we should use? For example, you use linking words very well. Your pronunciation was very clear. What is it? Nice use of this word. It sounds natural. And this motivates students to give them a feeling of success. The third is correction and improvements. The goal is to guide students gently, give them some tools. Instead of directly saying this is wrong, we can ask question. How would you improve this sentence? Does this sound correct to you? Is there another way to say this? This encourages students to think and correct themselves. In conclusion, effective feedback should be clear, supportive, and motivating. And I would like to say that the way we give feedback can strongly influence students' motivation and success. Thank you for the attention.
Okay, thank you, Kulani Lukasheva. Dear colleagues and speakers, thank you to all our speakers for your insightful, valuable, informative presentations, participation and attention. And now this session is closed. Thank you. And later I will send you your certificates.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for such a kind
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.